likes it.
Hello, everyone. Happy birthday, Betsy. Reminded of Tony Randall came. There was an applause like that, and when it died down, he said, "Sometimes they stand." Okay, so this is undignified, isn't it? Betsy, thank you so much for organizing this opportunity, and also, one might add, for showing up. It's such a big moment for the studio, you know, and such a significant moment, so I'm a little tongue-tied and haven't written down. I mean, I tried to write, and it just the enormity of it, and the grandeur, the greatness of it, just overwhelmed my capacity to write. You know, I write only one word at a time. But when I think about so many different things, I think about Stella, and happy birthday, by the way, happy birthday, Stella. And this whole history and this whole effort that she made and that we continue to make, and this effort was made long before her. She would be the first to say that it came from her father and mother, and long before her father and mother. It's a profound effort in all of humanity. You know, I was looking through her notebooks, and I found something that I thought I'd read it just because I think it speaks to that, and it speaks to you, and I really want to to clarify that it's you, Betsy, that has upheld this through the years, and I'm so deeply grateful for you. Just looking at, I just found notes, her notes to students, and she said, you know, it's your business to make something of yourself. You have therefore to start with what an actor has. I'm going to use the word she. She has a body. She has a voice. She has a mind. She has in this body, in this mind, in this voice, she has her talent, her soul, her background, her kindness, her faults, her total self. When I read that, I thought of you, and I just thought of a kind of person that I've come to know here over the decades, from when I was a kid, hanging around. You know, at 15, I went to Baldwin and 74th in Amsterdam, and I'd walk through the Central Park and end up here and sit in the back and watch her and you. This kind of inflamed human being, this passionate person, this person hungry for life, for growth, for ideas, you know. You've sustained that idea, that presence, that being here. So it's such a big moment because we're weaving you into this. We're weaving you into the bricks and mortar, but also into the heart and soul of this place, and I'm so grateful for that. So there's that. What else? There's these glorious memories I have. I remember a character class where Stella was talking about nostalgia, and you volunteered in front of students, and I think you were in La Cage aux Folles at the time, and you volunteered to do the exercise, and you failed. And you failed repeatedly. No, darling. No, darling. Put himself together and tried it. No. And then she left the room, and then you came over to the group of students, to the class, and you said, I know what I did wrong, and this is what I should have done. That was just this gigantic memory I have. I remember being in the office there, and you were coming in, and Stella was there, putting on makeup, you know. And I mean, she would wake up, as you know, at 2 p.m., or 12 noon or something. But then she would prepare herself, then she'd come to class, then she'd do hours. She'd put hours into her teaching. Then she'd put makeup on. Then she'd have something and go to the theater, and then dinner after the theater. Then she'd go home, and her bed was filled with books. And she'd read into the wee hours. She was a laborer. But there she was. And I just remember you saying, there's so much love here. Again, that just made a gigantic impression on me. It's something I've tried to live up to. I remember watching, after she left, after 1992, in the old space, in the 6th floor theater there, we were showing documentaries, and I remember Stella and Harold, and I remember you were weeping and saying, oh, Tommy, what we've lost. It's a memory I have. I remember you were saying, you're telling Nina and me, and this was, I think, in California, maybe it was when we went because they were naming the square. We were up in some place in the mountains around LA, in a museum of some sort. And so I just remember your essence there, taking in, breathing in the environment, and saying, and you're telling us a story that you were with the woman who played the witch in The Wizard of Oz. Was that Margaret? Who's it? Margaret Hamilton. Yeah. And being at music festival. Which one?
Which one in Connecticut?
Yeah, Nina, she could tell me. I was there, Tanglewood. And you went on the lawn, and it was beautiful, and the day, and she said, oh, world, I cannot hold you close enough. Do you remember that? Yeah. Again, it's just, I'm just wanting to take these blessings that you've given me and give them to you and say thank you for them. And then there was our romance around Chekhov and anything I asked you to do. And I would say, would you do this part in this play? And you said, I'm constitutionally incapable of saying no. It's like the dream of any teenage boy. Anyway, and all of those adventures and being able to be with you and you blessed us with those performances. thing that is occurring to me is the character class and that part of Stella, because we celebrate the beautiful work that Ron did, the ways in which he wove Krishnamurti into Stella, and the ways in which he and his capacity to utilize the technique for film, for example, and all of that, But there's this other side of Stella that and I saw it recently in these animal exercises that I sent around. I don't know if you guys watched. But I feel like that comes from the character class, and that craziness, that unabashed theatricality, and the capacity to find truth in it, you kept that alive. You breathe that life. You breathe that into this place, we're so blessed by that. I'm so grateful to you for doing that, and I hope that. And partly I'm talking to the Zoom audience out there and to young people, because because behind all of that, you teach us how to live a life. You are a grand master of being a human, of being alive, in the proportion of any great work of art, what you've done, so Marlon Brando once said to me, "They say that a master's teaching is in her being," and you're a great, great teacher. You are a teaching as well, and so that's what tonight means to me. And this great opportunity and that beautiful sign that warms up the space, doesn't it? Gloriously.
Yes.
Warms up this space. One more thing, I just want to have said, thank you for your belief in me. You believed in me, I think, as much as more than anyone in my life, aside from Nina, who's in Zoomer. You always made that clear to me, and gee, I'm so deeply grateful. Thank you, Betsy.
It's always a little daunting to go after Tom, but I have some memories of Betsy. They're a little bit different than Tom's. It's true. Betsy never says no. Even when I'm depending on it. Even when I'm hoping I can say, she's elderly, we can't do this. And then Betsy says, I heard that. And then, of course, we have to do it. Whether it is climbing the stairs to go and see a workshop, even after we've taught all day long, and Betsy's coughing, and I say at intermission, Betsy, we can go. And Betsy says, if you want to go, go. I'm staying. So thank you for that. Okay, so here's a story. And I apologize, many of you have already heard it. And I think some of you more than 4 times. But anyway, and this has to do with Tom's and Betsy's relationship, which is extraordinary and very special. And every time Betsy gets off the phone with Tom, she says, he's so profound. Nobody speaks the way he does. And I say, yes, but we have to order dinner. Now, where are we going for dinner? And she said, wait. Let me tell you what he said. All right, so here's probably one of my favorite stories. Betsy had fallen, and she had cracked ribs. Now, for the rest of us, that's a big deal, right? No, not for Betsy. And Tom wanted to come and visit. And I said, Tom, okay, but she's very frail. This is really taking a lot out of her. Don't be shocked when you see her. She has cracked ribs. And Tom said, I just want to go for a minute, just for a minute. You know Tom's never done anything. But I fell for it. So I said, Betsy, Tom wants to visit you. I just said, oh, I said, well, you know, it's Tom. It's Tom. You held him when he was a baby. He wants to see you. So Betsy said, well, what shall I wear? And we crawled into the closet. And then Betsy said, wait, I have gold silk pajamas. Perfect, lounging pajamas, there she is. So we stage this, we stage it. And Betsy is propped up on the pillows, and every inhalation, every movement was painful. Everyone. Get her on the sofa, and then she says, wait, my feet. I don't want my feet out. So we get one of Betsy's beautiful shawls, throws, we put it over her feet with great care. Talk of this, that, but it looks like Betsy just walked out of their bedroom and just, there she was. So Tom came. Tom was directing, remember this? Tom was directing Antigone at the time. Now, if you know that when Tom's directing something, it's like, you know, the house could be on fire. He's like, I just want to do this one thing. So Betsy played Antigone. And they're talking, and they're talking. And I'm starting to get a little nervous, because it's a long time. And Tom's going, oh, I really need to go. And I'm thinking, great, no. And then Betsy says, but you know, when the king, and then Tom starts, I thought, are they fucking kidding me? I mean, she's in pain, and they're talking about Antigone. And they're talking about Antigone. And then, in the silk pajamas, Betsy starts to slip. And I think, well, now surely Tom can see that. Betsy's slipping. But no. He continues, she continues. Antigone. And then, Tom again looks at his watch, and when he looks at his watch, I saw a little foot poke out. I thought, oh God, Betsy didn't want her foot, but I can't go over there and cover her foot, you know. And so Betsy sees the little foot poking out, slipping further, and Tom says, I really have to go, I really have to go. So I stand up and say, oh no, really? Okay, well, great, and let's go. And Betsy's eyes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the other foot slips out. I'm thinking, oh my God. So Tom finally stands up, and let's get your coat, and I'll walk you to the elevator. And as we're walking, Tom said, who are you talking about? She's great. She looks beautiful. She's not frail. I don't think she's in pain. I said, well, you know, Tom, makeup, lipstick, the whole thing. And so I run back, half thinking, oh my God, she's on the floor. But when I come in, both feet out, lower legs, and she said, "Oh, that was great, that went so well." And of course, it did, as it always does. And I have lots of stories like that. But instead I will say, "Oh my goodness, Betsy, where would I be without you?" Saying, "We have to stay, we have to go." And then after a long day, or after every poetry reading, Betsy would say, we must mark the moment. We should go out. We should do something. This was a great night." And of course, you know, we've been here since 9 o'clock and the mascara's running, and I say, "Okay, let's go to Parnell's." So, happy birthday, my dear. And now I'd like to welcome Luis Morales.
Hello, Zoom land. Somebody
That
got
was-
something?
Yeah,
Do you want to take that, please?
Yes. I was going to say, we've known you since you were 18,
Yes.
but I forgot. So we've known him since he was 18. Yay! Now he's running things.
This is going well. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Betsy, my dear heart, happy birthday to you. Joanne, please sit still. Quote, "There is a woman at the beginning of all great things." So Betsy Parrish, 3 things come to mind when I was asked to speak for this dedication of Theater 4. First, teacher. So like many of us coming into the studio at that time, hearing that Betsy was alongside Stella was a thrill. My first class with Betsy back in 1997, yes, 25 years ago, was her charging in, immediately saying to the class, without taking attendance, "Okay, on your mark, get set, live like this." And so there I was, you know, hanging from the edge of my chair and immediately taken by this woman, sitting thinking, what else? What else? How theatrical, how captivating, right? What a way to start a class. You left me, she left me wanting more. And needless to say, she continued to deliver more with her acting song class, which she still is teaching till this day, this semester. And awakened us, that motley crew of group back then. Second, icon. You're an icon. Okay, so here. I then had the opportunity to get to know Betsy as a colleague, someone I would connect with in the hall or faculty lounge, and any chance I could be of help, I would, and oddly enough, that's when it became clear to me that here is an icon. Not in the classroom. For some reason, I noticed it more after being her student. I would see how people would interact with her. Outside of the classroom, how students would go into the classroom and leave it. Total respect, total awe, gratitude and reverence when you walked in, and how Betsy makes you feel. Right? That you're always the most important person in the room. So, and especially, it's always that thing too, you know what she does, right? That she just comes in, she walks in, she stops, stares at you, and then does one of these. Well, yeah, right? Even if you're day, you're just like, and then she's just like, and you can't help but just, right? Then you just think, oh, well, let me just pull myself together. And there it is. Now here, the definition of an icon is a person or thing widely admired, especially for having great influence or significance in a particular sphere. Someone who has made a tangible difference and positive influence on a measurable scale. Well, damn it, that sounds like Betsy to me. Third, I feel like Pete when you give graduation speeches. It's always a phrase.
I see it.
You see it. Good luck this year. Third, friend. This is the best part. This is the best one. The fact that I actually can say my friend, Betsy. The past 5 years especially have been the most magnificent. Being able to simply spend time with her, whether it be on the phone, catching up, checking in, chewing the fat, the way Jimmy Tripp would say, or going through several bottles of wine in her apartment, which she does very, very, very well. Or being on a rooftop watching the sunset. The moments in her apartment are always filled with insight, humanity, creativity, size, and humor. And more than anything, I always leave a few inches taller. So, why the hell do I say all these things, right? Well, in celebration of Betsy, but in hopes that this theater, which will be known as the Betsy, be a place that audiences and students have the same experience that I've had alongside you. That they're sitting on the edge of their seat, captivated, wanting more, awakening everyone in sight, having a positive influence and a tangible difference on a measurable scale take place while being in the space, the definition of an icon, and, like me, leaving Betsy's place, that everyone, audiences, actors, right, that they leave a few inches taller, knowing that the night was spectacular and filled with humanity and size. She is a queen, her soul is royalty, and I cannot wait to see the great things that will take place in Betsy. Happy birthday. And now, distinguished faculty member, Elena Zucker.
Wow. Oh, a lot of love in here, as was said earlier. I am just so honored to be speaking about my dear friend, colleague, and mentor, Betsy Parrish. As you know, everybody here knows this, having had the privilege of observing and assisting Betsy in the classroom for her renowned character class. This class originated by Ms. Stella Adler herself and then developed, deepened, broadened, and updated these last decades by Betsy Parrish. Betsy then entrusted me to lead the class. Again, an honor. And my guiding star throughout this transitional period that was itself wedged within a pandemic has of course been Betsy. Through Zoom calls, dinners, and glasses of white wine. Now, over these past few years, I've often thought of a story that Betsy recounts when she's teaching. And I'm going to tell it here in a very condensed form. Following a performance one night, the great actress Laurette Taylor was asked by a young actor how she was always so good. And Laurette Taylor replied, "I'm not always so good.
I have my craft, technique, experience, and sometimes God visits. Well, for us, Betsy visits. She shows up, and not just sometimes, always. Betsy is inspiration, revelation, and guidance for us teachers, students, actors, artists, friends, who seek a creative understanding and experience of what being a human is and can be. It is such a joy to be celebrating Betsy's birthday and the dedication of the Elizabeth Parrish Theater to our dear friend Betsy, who continues to show up for and inspire us all. Happy birthday, Betsy! Betsy Parrish herself is making her way up here.
Yes. Well, first of all, can I put this down and still be heard? Yes, there we go. Thank you. Is that okay? Everybody?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gobsmacked. That's what I say. What beautiful things have just been said. I can't begin to tell you how much it means to me. I'm just flopping along. And people like Tom said, well, all of you, what you said. Was I there? Well, I suppose I could just say thanks a lot and leave. No, I don't think that would be possible. So I have a few thoughts. And I'm afraid I may lose my place, you see, so I have my place here. Okay, well, something must be very clear. And you've heard me say most of what I'm going to say, probably. But a truth is, I am in love with something. Theater. And look, here it is. Look at this. Look at what's happened to this studio room. Look at the miracle of rugs and balloons. This is not a moment, a theater. This is it. We are having a theater moment in a theater because it's just been created. This is not just nowhere. It's a place. It is a place in which we can do what we do and be who we are. Theater as a way of being. Enchantment, Jimmy used to say. It's magic. It's magic. It's a kind of brigadoo. Okay? Are you here? This is it. This is tonight. Isn't this incredible? Yes. So I'll tell you something that helps me. When I was just starting out, I had a small, of course, quite wonderful part, in a play with a leading lady who thought she was Sarah Bernhardt. She was big, she was enormous, she was dramatic, she had a handkerchief. I thought she was magnificent. The audiences loved her, the cast did not. She also had her gentlemen callers look at her so that their backs were to the audience a lot, and then they'd turn around and talk with her. And it was a little bit late, but she would also summon people into coming into her dressing room because she had things about your performance to fix. You fix something in your performances, and your hairdo is terrible, and the way you handle that prop is terrible. People would come out in despair, just finished, just terrible. So when my turn came, I can still feel myself standing at the door. It was a matinee day, so it was between the matinee and the evening, and my heart's pounding. Oh, what's knock? And the door opened to a rather warm, friendly light, and she had some guests, and they started leaning forward. And she rose from her chair and came to me with one of those white paper cups that are filtered in little beautiful designed paper cups, full of whiskey. And she looked deep into my soul. And she said, "Welcome to the theater." Well, so the theater exists as a way of life, as a way of being. There is a theater world, there is. So we are in sacred space. And we have ancestors. Sarah Bernhardt, for example. And of course, Stella. Stella was theater. She was on a mission. She needed to have the values and the depth and the heart and the passion continue. Maybe change en route, but continue and continue in us. We were all dressed as upper middle class Russians. So we had hats, we ladies had hats, long skirts. Stella came in a hat out to here. There was a bird. There were feathers, there was lace, there was chiffon. Fabulous, fabulous hat. And of course, I found a way of saying something wonderful, like, wow. Something really profound. And she said, Betsy, you have to have a self to wear a hat like this. Have we heard that before? Growth as an actor and growth as a human being, one and the same. And as Tom, and as the English say, our Tom, as our Tom, he keeps this going. He keeps theater going. He's on a mission. Somehow, we've moved 3 times. How's that possible? And he reaches out to the world that's here He's determined to move forward. He just refuses to stop. And he will not let us go under. He knows what theater is. He comes of it. It is riveted in him. Not only that, given half a chance, he can explain it to you. He can tell you what theater really is. Prufrock heard the muses, the mermaids singing each to each. I think they sing all the time to Tom. They just sing and sing and sing. You're never out of touch, never out of touch with theater perception, whatever that is. It is astounding, but you are never without that awareness. And in that awareness is something that gives it infinite light. Well, we can't go back, And as for the future, yeah. So where are we? And I like T.S. Eliot's thought. You know, a dancer who, where they dance, and suddenly they stop. And now, in that stop, they're not dancing, nor have they gone on dancing, but there is not that stop. He calls that the still point. That we are, in that sense, we are at the still point. And he says that's where the dance is. And there is only the dance. I perhaps flatter myself to think I understand that. But I know that Tom does. And that will be a part of our life here. So you can imagine how much this means to me. As I said, I've just been flopping on. And then I said, what does it mean to me? And one of the things is, of course, I've been doing this all my life. I didn't know that. And it just, this concept of theater, whatever that means, that continues and grows and changes as it moves from generation to generation to generation. The very sense of truth changes. To be a part of that, to know that I was a part of that, to believe that I was a part of that, is unbelievable. It's very magical and wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Doctors have medicine, and we have theater. And here we are. And we come together every day to do whatever it is we do. And under it, and around it, and with us, and here we are. It exists. Being like that. And now again, God visits. And we're hammering away. Whatever. So, I just thank you all. We do this together. We are now in a moment. This is it. This is theater. You make it. Here, now. And I thought maybe we're here to celebrate, right? Yes. We're here, yes! We're here to celebrate our very own sacred space and each other. So it's not, and I quote, and I love quoting this, it's so profound. So it's not farewell, but fare forward, Voyager. Thank you.
Thank you.